What's going on, everybody? Jonathan Rayena here. Welcome back to the Passion Blade YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys the process of how to remove your clutch and water pump assembly from your SV650. Now, this is something that can be done while your engine is still installed on your SV650. I'm just in the process of breaking this one down right now. Now, if you guys have a full fairing model like this one right here, you will have to remove that lower fairing to access this assembly, but other than that, super simple job. So I'm going to show you guys what tools you'll need, how to do it step by step, and if you guys are in the process of just wanting to inspect your clutch or replace your water pump or just replace your clutch altogether, this is the video for you. So without further ado, let's get today's video started. Alrighty, so first order of business, we need to go ahead and drain our cooling system. To do that, we're gonna access this 10mm drain plug and remove it. Once you remove this drain plug from this hole, you will have all your coolant dumping out. Now, if you notice no coolant's coming out of there, don't be alarmed. Just go ahead and take your radiator cap, loosen it up a bit, and that will release the vacuum that's on the system and allow all this coolant to come out freely. Now, up next, we're gonna go ahead and remove this radiator hose. As you can see, that one's already removed. We're gonna be removing this hose right here. And then after that one, we're gonna go ahead and remove this hose that's connecting to our thermostat. So let's go ahead and get this one off. Once this hose is removed, we can go ahead and just tuck that off to the side. Alrighty, now that we have that hose up and off the water pump assembly, we can go ahead and start removing the bolts from the main cover. We have 14 bolts in total, 11 of which are on the main cover and 3 are on the water pump assembly. All of them need to be removed and they all require an 8mm socket. So let's get them off. Alrighty guys, so we got all 14 bolts removed from our clutch and water pump cover. I wanted to make a quick note before we go any further with this removal process, and that is for when you guys are reinstalling everything, please remember that 11 of the bolts that are smaller are the ones that go on the exterior of the cover, and then the ones that are the 3 long ones go directly through the water pump cover. So 3 long bolts, water pump cover, 11 small bolts on the outside. Let's keep it moving. Alrighty, so now that we have all of the hardware completely removed from our clutch and water pump covers, it's time to actually remove the cover itself. To do this, we actually have a couple of tabs from factory that are built into the main case itself to help pry this cover off. Do not use any type of force on the actual water pump housing. You will cause damage to that, and that will cause a bigger headache in the future. So like I said, use these little ears right here that the factory left for us to use and service this assembly. Now, what I like to do is I like to use a rubber mallet, tap around the edges of the casing, and that helps kind of loosen it up from the dowels and the gasket that's holding it in place. And then I like to go ahead and take a screwdriver and pry at these little ears right here to get the remainder of the cover off. So let's go ahead and get that removed. Alrighty, clutch and water pump cover completely removed. Let's go ahead and set that off to the side. And now we have access to our clutch assembly. Also, as you can see here, we have a bunch of remaining old gasket. We're gonna go ahead and get that removed before going ahead and diving into this clutch. What I like to do is use a plastic razor blade. This right here is the safest for the metal surfaces on here. If you do use a metal blade, please be very careful with it, because if you do nick up any of the mating surfaces right here, you do run the risk of a future leak. So highly recommend plastic razor blades. You can pick these up on Amazon for super cheap. So let's go ahead, get this old gasket removed, and then we'll get that clutch out. Alrighty, now that we have the majority of our gasket removed, we can start focusing on our clutch assembly. To start off, we're gonna go ahead and remove these 6 10mm bolts, and once we remove those bolts, there's gonna be a spring underneath them. We're gonna remove both the spring and the bolt, and then that will alleviate the pressure off of this pressure plate right here. Then we will have access to all of our clutch and friction plates underneath. So let's go ahead and get those bolts removed. Now that we have all 6 bolts and springs completely removed from our pressure plate will easily slide out like so. And with the pressure plate out of the way, we now have access to all of our clutch and friction discs, which these will usually come out one at a time, but I like to stick my finger in the back and try to slide them all forward as much as possible to get out as many as I can in one go, but sometimes it doesn't work out as nicely as I'd like. So as you see, this is how they come out. And we almost got all of them out. Almost. Whoop. couple more. One. Whoop. And we're done. Awesome. So now we have all of our clutch and friction plates completely removed. We'll go ahead and set these off to the side. And now we are just left with our clutch hub and basket. Now the clutch hub itself and the basket is not something that you need to replace commonly. The only times you ever do need to replace this assembly is when you see deep grooves and cuts into your clutch hub or the clutch basket itself. So I'm gonna show you guys how to inspect that now. Alrighty, so now we're going to be inspecting the clutch hub and the basket. Now what we're looking for here is any notches or grooves that have been made over time from your clutch discs or friction plates within these little grooves right here, and just run your finger over all of them, and if you feel any sort of notchiness in between, you may want to go ahead and replace your hub while you're there. Also, same thing goes for the basket. All of the slots where your clutch would just slot in place, go ahead and just check them and make sure that they don't have any notches or grooves. A little cheat code that you can do if you do have any notches or grooves in your basket, sometimes you can get away with just a light file on them and continue using it until the next clutch replacement. I usually recommend against that and just recommend replacing the entire basket. Sometimes by doing that, you'll cause a little bit more clutch chatter than you may have had before to begin with. So if you guys have not found any notches or grooves on any of these little sections right here, you're good to go. Go ahead and get your new clutch plates that you ordered, slip them in, and reassemble everything. But if not, continue watching because we're going to go ahead and remove this hub and this basket. Alrighty, so first order of business in removing our clutch hub assembly is to remove this clutch push pin. And then you're going to see a large nut behind it held in place by a locking fold-over washer. Now we're going to have to fold this back up so we can actually remove that nut. To do so, we're going to use a hammer and a screwdriver to fold that back up, and then that will allow us to put a socket on this to remove that nut. So let's get that removed. So now that we have our locking washer folded and out of the way, we can now slip our 27mm socket over this nut. Now to remove this entire assembly, there's two ways to do this. You can go online, order a clutch hub tool, which will basically lock this in place and allow you to remove that bolt with ease. Or two, if you really never plan on doing this job ever again, you can use a flathead screwdriver. And what I like to do is just take it, sit into one of the splines of the hub, take my impact gun, put it on there, and remove the nut. Like so. Now the rest of this assembly, super easy to remove. Everything just slides right on out. This washer right here, that was the one that we folded over. This is a one-time use part. Please do not reuse this. Go ahead onto the Suzuki website or your local Suzuki dealer and just buy one of these as a replacement. They're very cheap. Up next, the clutch hub itself will slip on out. And you're gonna notice on the back side of it, it does have another washer. Do not lose this. This is the spacer that goes between this and the basket assembly itself, and you don't wanna lose this or forget to reinstall that. Last up, we have the actual clutch basket itself, and this as well will just slide on out, like so. And that completes our removal process of the entire clutch assembly on your SV650. Alrighty guys, that's all I got for you today, but before we go, I wanted to do a quick recap on all the parts that we removed today. Starting out, we got the clutch and water pump cover, our pressure plate, all of our clutch discs, our clutch hub, and our clutch basket, as well as all the correlating hardware with it. Now, I do have one more recommendation before I go, and that is while you're here and you have all that stuff out of the way, do a little check on your engine oil pump. This little wheel right here is what turns your engine oil pump, and if you have any major resistance on this pump, you may have a failing engine oil pump, and this right here could save you a huge headache and a lot of money in the future just by inspecting this while you're here. So just give this wheel a little spin. If you notice that you have any major resistance, it may be time to replace that assembly. But other than that though guys, that's all I got for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you liked it or learned something, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. We're almost up to 2,000 subscribers. And until the next one, guys, I'll see you then. Peace.